I send him clips where I'm just
No,
like,
Evan.
No. Evan is
doesn't-
not a binger.
Evan
not a binger.
despises my binge watching.
Yes,
habit.
binge
I'm not
watchers.
talking about him
I'm not
binging it.
saying binge watchers are terrible. I'm only saying you deserve less rights.
Well, I have a
Although I
question.
am saying every Sunday I do wake up ready to defend Aaron Yeager, the mass murderer, war criminal. They're just like, Evan, Aaron Yeager's a bad person. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck what he does.
Well, you know what's hilarious? I
Do the
literally
shit he's been through.
that doesn't give you. I never. As the person who hasn't watched.
You cannot.
a
You
single
cannot.
If I
say
watch
you've
my
not
mother
watched
die in
it.
front of me, I will destroy everything.
Is Aaron
Absolutely.
Yeager morally wrong? Yes. Do I care? No. I watched him get murdered for 3 consecutive seasons. I'm not turning my back on him now. But anyway, let's get started 10 minutes in. Welcome.
I cheered as he murdered children.
Welcome to the show, everybody. You
That's
do
a
know in the
weird
YouTube cut, it's going to say me saying welcome and then going you.
I cheered as he
I
murdered
cheer as you murder people.
children.
Welcome to the
really
show,
good.
everybody.
Children, not people. Children.
Welcome to the Ecchi and Chill Show. I am your host. I am your trash lord, Suneater Evan. You can call me Evan. You can call me Scammer Diaz. You can call me Avatar Pharaoh. Call me what you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. Anyway, that's like a country song or something, isn't it?
Probably.
Also, I'm going to edit that and be like, Evan, don't ever after any statement. Like, you ain't Megan the motherfucking Stallion. So, as you guys have heard, I am surrounded by 3 very long friends of mine who are stuck with me, and I don't give a fuck how they feel about it, to be honest with you.
You can't.
Bitch,
ever
guess what?
go
You're stuck
away.
with us.
So we're going to,
This is a parasite.
I'm not locked in a room with you. You're locked in a room with me. So we're going to start for the YouTube audience at the far end of the table. It is a aspiring Twitch affiliate speaking into existence. A person who came out the womb with a controller in his hand, but you already know him. Welcome to the program, Cook. Good to see you.
Glad to be back. Thanks for having me yet again.
Closest to me is somebody I literally have on everything I do. It's almost like I create a thing and I'm like, who would fit this particular role? Emily. And just like a little thought bubble pops like a manga panel. Hi, Emily. Welcome back to the show. Good to see
thanks
you.
for having me back.
On Instagram at ME27_cosplay. Road to 500,000 likes. Moving on.
Same in my TikTok. Same name.
I enjoy how I'm just going to build you guys up and then go, moving on. This is Dylan. He's great. Anyway. And in the middle of the screen for the YouTube audience is the knitting professional herself, the Genshin Impact gambler herself.
Addict.
Welcome to the show, Gessie.
It's my drug of choice.
Could be worse. It could be cocaine.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Great. Good to have you here, guys. So I'm going to put a disclaimer now. If you're here for the anime breakdowns or us seriously talking about manga or fan fiction, come back next week. We're here for the jokes. We're here to have a good time. Turn this up if you at your office, because I know I'm going to. I've looped back around from hating my voice to now the voice in my head is annoying, and I have to hear my own voice through my ears now. Does that make sense?
Yes, because
Yeah.
my
Very
voice
much
sounds
so.
so different to me. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like hearing myself through this playback is so different, but I can stand my voice here comparative to other things I can't.
It's interesting hearing your voice through the headphones after hearing it in person for how many years? 13. Your voice is real fucking soothing. Through this
You
microphone.
got that podcast voice, girl.
She does.
I think that's the nicest thing
It's
you've ever
like-
said to me.
Also,
honestly.
for context, before we go any further, these two have been best friends literally for 30 years.
I think we're coming up on 14 or 15 years, and I do buy her anniversary cards.
Yeah,
Plus
I
or
got a
minus a half,
I got a
10 years.
13-year anniversary card from
Yeah,
you, and
yeah.
it was the best moment of my life.
Yes. So
Her
all
mom
the
thought I was
jokes are
going to ask
that.
to marry you.
She legit was like, wait. And then everyone's like, oh, you're moving with Emily? I'm like, yeah. And then everyone just expected us to say where you were dating, and we were
Yeah,
like, no,
that's not a thing.
absolutely not.
But to be fair, if you guys put your relationship status is in a relationship, you wouldn't get that many congratulations. You get finally.
Right. Yeah,
It took this long?
Yeah.
Like,
Literally.
damn.
At our friend's wedding, the groom turned to us and went, when are you guys going to get married? And we're like, no.
Did he say, when are you going to make an honest woman out of Gessie?
Yeah, our friend did turn to me. Actually, it was after we were done setting up the wedding, and he turns to me and goes, when are you going to make an honest woman out of Gessie? And I was like, that's not my job.
So funny.
And I just walked away.
You're like, I watch her enough. Somebody else has to have a turn.
Now
The
I just
funny
put
part
candy
about
corns
that-
in your morning meds.
The funny part about
Little bit of
that,
candy corn next
when
to
you're
your
gonna make an
anti-anxiety med.
honest woman out of Gessie, it's like the term honest when he says that is like Jesse's some streetwalker or something.
She's swindling poor folks out of money.
Like, dearest Emily, when are you going to turn her away from that life?
When are you going to turn her away from crime?
Like,
Bring her back to this good to the world.
like,
Bring her back to the light.
like we found her in a red light district or something. But anyway, we're here for the jokes today, guys. So I'm going to start off with this one. This isn't a joke, actually. This is just a real question. Do you feel
No, the Muffin Man?
that... Oh... That was going to be a cold open for this episode, and I'm mad that you stole it from me. Matter of fact, mute her mic. What you talking about? Mute her mic. Do you
twice
feel...
Well, when you said joke, I expected a dad joke to come out of your mouth, honestly.
Okay,
She has a fair point.
we're doing the jokes today, but I do have random questions to get to. I do want to have some type of structure.
Then you should have invited me.
There
here.
will be order.
You were on my couch 10 minutes ago. Anyway, do you all feel that you have to watch classics of a genre or play classics of a video game to be considered a true gaming fan?
Absolutely not.
Emily, your mic is unmuted. This comes up because when I saw Gessie today, she talked about watching Studio Ghibli movies. I haven't seen them all. I don't even think I've seen a third of them. And I'm not pressed to do it. And I'm not gonna.
I haven't even seen all of them. There's only specific ones I've rewatched a gazillion times. So there are ones I would like for you to watch, but I would not ask you to watch all of them because I fucking haven't.
Yeah. Like, if we're chilling at night and you put on, like, Kiki's Delivery Service, I'm not gonna say no.
Hey,
but,
can
like,
you not? That's like my favorite.
Hey, can you not?
Okay.
what's the deal?
She doesn't like Kiki's.
Why?
I don't.
The girl's got a really odd
All right,
voice.
well, Totoro's terrible. I'm kidding. I haven't seen it.
Moving
Emily's time
on.
to go. Let's go.
No.
I'm literally
Sit
kidding.
down.
I haven't seen it. But, like, at some points, it feels like homework when you're, like, forced to watch the classics. Like, I do think there's shows and games everybody should see or play. Like, everybody should watch fucking Death Note, staple of the genre, just to get an opinion on it. You don't have to like it. Like, everybody should watch Cowboy Bebop just to see. You don't have to like it.
Not the live action, though.
But, like,
No.
no, of course not. I wasn't even there. But, like, Neon Genesis Evangelion, that's a lot to get into.
Yeah, I haven't
Like,
watched
it's a classic of the genre, but, like, you don't have to because it takes a lot for
I
you to
think
invest in
it's
it.
hard too because people's definition of the classics is different for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, because for me, Wolf's Rain is a classic anime.
Which I literally never heard of until we moved in together.
What'd you say?
Wolf's Rain? Are
Never heard of it.
you serious?
100%.
Oh my god.
It's one of our favorite
I wish
animes.
I could lie to you. Right now.
I fucking binged that shit in high school over and over again. It's
And
so good.
I never heard of it until you moved in with me. I think one of the hardest things too when it comes to the classics, is especially like growing up, my first dose of anime was on Toonami and Adult Swim. A lot of those watching back now as an adult are extremely hard to watch, like Case Detective and like
the Conan case files is hard
Yeah.
to get. All
well,
right.
like no, like I watched it, but for like some of them are really good, but like the art styles is not everybody's thing now. The animation is harder. That for like a lot of people, they just can't get into it. And I think we've talked about it on another podcast. I think the old school animes did more with less. Like Trigun and Cowboy Bebop told entire storylines in 26 episodes that series now take seasons to do. And I think it's a different art form. But I don't think you need to watch those to be able to be considered an anime fan. If your first douse of anime is My Hero, you're just as much as a fan as somebody who's watched every single anime that comes out. That's just my opinion on it.
Cook, I haven't played a single minute of a single Zelda game. Am I not a gamer?
No.
Wait.
Oh, isn't
I
Zelda?
was confused for a hot second when you just stared at me. I'm like, uh-oh.
No, you look like you were going to say something, and then I realized you weren't, and I just was like, all right, we're going to keep moving. Like, isn't Zelda the green one? Literal kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Now you're pushing your luck.
I saw the vein pop in your head, and I'm like, let me stop before he jumps over this table. No, I've never played a single Zelda game. Not one. I don't even like any Mario games. I hate the jumping puzzles. Mario's the reason I don't like jumping puzzles in games today.
Yeah, like I never played Kingdom Hearts. Like I knew I heard about
Oh!
it, and my friends
Yeah, I
played
never
it.
played it
Oh,
either.
you're gonna
But it
complain, Evan?
was-
You gonna complain?
She, I, this is a safe space, but I want you to know your mic almost got muted. This is a safe space, but oh, buddy.
Well, because for me, like growing up, like I didn't have a lot of gaming consoles. Like that wasn't a thing. like that I as a girl was given. It was all my brothers.
And like, I don't know if it's the same for you. My brother unintentionally hoarded the gaming systems. So I never got a chance to really play video games growing up.
Like I was allowed to play Barbie horse riding games on Xbox.
Me too. I hated that.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I have watched Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube and played through in every single level that I'm pretty sure I, to this day, can play it through without actually, like, remembering it. To the point
I
where, like,
love watching people play Resident Evil games.
yeah, to the point where my brother once screamed until I woke up as a kid to come out and sit with him. And he's like, hey, I don't remember this. It was to the point where I was like, hey, walk this way, shoot that guy, immediately turn the corner, shoot that guy, but go back to the first guy because the thing's going to pop out of his head, and then that dude's going to pop out, and you got to go back to the second. Like, I knew all of that, but I never got a chance to play it because he was always playing.
As a diehard Resident Evil fan since I was like 5 or 6 years old, that makes me so happy to hear.
I actually have the original on GameCube still, and I'm, like, a little terrified to play
I
it.
literally have every single of the GameCube games in almost pristine condition.
That's just scary. Not gonna play it because I remember I was young.
I will make you play.
I'll tell you what. My first introduction to any of the horror suspense genre was when I was like 13 or 14. I had no idea this was a thing. Like, I was playing Gears of War at like 14, 15. So chainsawing these little underground aliens with a gun was easy for me. The gore didn't bother me. Then I played Fear. And let me tell you, the first mission, I put it down. I was like, whoa, we're good. Because I remember just going up these stairs. The lights are flickering. Papers and cans are flying, creating the suspense. Then I get to the roof, and a guy smacks me in the face with a shovel, and I jumped off the ground. My vertical would have got me in the NBA. I was terrified. And I was like, yep, we're good. We're done. And then a couple weeks ago, Cook is playing Dead Space live. And I'm like, I know I have no control over what happens. I'm scared. All the lights are on in my house.
I think for me, like, the thought, and I was rewatching, I think it was Achievement Hunter play Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube. It was a whole different thing of how it could be scary was because there's no autosave. So in Resident Evil, you had to find, I think it was 2 things, right? For Resident Evil? You had to find ink and a paper, and then you had certain areas you were allowed to save. That was the only place you could save. So if you make it through and then battle all of these dudes, it's no like, hey, pick up at this final boss that you've already defeated all this underlings. You end up back in the other spot, have to defeat all of the underlings again, and then fight the boss. So I think that was, for me, has always been like the scariest thing about old horror video games.
I don't like playing horror video games, but I love watching people play them.
My favorite is for like the half minute you were streaming in the house playing Phasmophobia, and wherever I was in the house, I could just hear like shrieks. But before it would play through on Twitch, because I was always streaming you too, I could hear the gaming chair freak out of you freaking out, and then I know I was like, oh, this bitch is about to die. And then sure enough, the lag would come through, and I would see you dying, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, she got.
I'm not good at horror games.
Well, it didn't help you would play it in the background, like in the all dark room.
Oh yeah, all dark room with like a red light.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a dumb mistake.
That just brought something else completely up. Have y'all ever had a moment just like this? There was, over quarantine, where I still had my PlayStation for like a day. I think I got an Xbox soon after. No, not over quarantine, just beforehand. I was playing Spider-Man PS4. Love that game. Top to bottom, it's excellent. And it was such a good time for me because I actually still had to go to work. Our roommate, my man's Edgar at the time, still had to go to work. So it's just me waking up, chilling all day in the same clothes I woke up in, doing nothing but being on the couch all day. So I'm playing through this game, right? And Ashley went into work late for some reason. Might have been a power outage. It's like noon, all right? I sit down, I start playing. She's like, all right, I'll be back at like 4 or 5. I'm like, all right, cool. And then it honestly felt like an hour later. She comes back, and I'm like, that was it? What happened? Like, did the power go out again? She was like, Evan, I've been gone for like 6 hours. And I was like, excuse me?
That happens so much.
Because all I did, like, I sat on the couch the entire time, and I only got up 3 times. 1 to go pee, 1 to get chicken nuggets out the air fryer, and 1 to let the dog out. And it all felt like it was within 1 hour.
So let me explain. Let me get this straight. You just open up the air fryer and you put the food in?
All right. I'm saying air fryers work too good. Like, if in 10 years we get one of those commercials, if you are a loved one Use an air fryer. You may be entitled to financial compensation. If that happens, I'm going to be like, well, I knew it. Those things work too good. You don't put no oil in them.
For context, for
Dead
audio
ass?
listeners, dead ass. So for context,
Don't trust it.
every time we used an air fryer for like 4 months, that's all Evan used to say. So let me get this straight. You just put the food in and it fries it with air. So now I bring it up every time he says an air fryer.
You telling me a shrimp fried this rice?
But that has happened to me too. I was back when my old roommate lived with me. She was working like 8 to 2 or something. And she was going into work and I was like, all right, bye, have a good one. And I was playing Tomb Raider and I sat down and I was like, oh, I had gotten to like a new part in the map and I had defeated everything. And I remember I was like really struggling with these wolves and I had finally just killed them. And I hear a car and I was like, that's weird. She forgot something. And like, I like came out of it. I realized I haven't moved. I haven't peed. I haven't eaten. I had zoned out sitting on the couch because like the sun had gone down. Like, or like she was working like a 10 to 8. So like the sun had gone down. I was like, oh, I fucked up. And then like I was like, I gotta do something. So I quickly shut off the video game. Like I wasn't just playing it for the last 8 hours. I'm like got up and started like doing dishes. Like we didn't even have. I just grabbed shit off the counter and started like washing. Like I was doing something today. Like, I was productive. My Xbox is crying in the corner. Like thank God you shut me off. Breathe.
Xbox was hot as shit. The fan stopped working 4 hours ago.
I almost got the red ring of death.
Oh, that's a throwback and a half right there.
I know, right?
Yeah, like Evan said, I play a fuck ton of Genshin, and it's a lot of just domain and artifact farming, like, and getting all these, like, items for your weapons and shit. And so Emily will come home, and she'll be like, did you eat? And I'll be like, when did you leave?
My favorite is the one time I didn't tell you I was coming home at 3 a.m. because I worked the night shift. And
I got caught.
I had, like, just texted and I was like, hey, I might be taking the night off. I might be coming home early, so if you hear noise, don't freak out. It's just me coming home. So I'm, like, sneaking in the house because I don't want to wake her up. And I pull into the driveway. But I notice all the lights are on still in my living room. I open up the door and this bitch is on the couch and I went, go to bed. You have work in 7 hours.
I'm just sitting there on my phone like, but then.
But I got a farm.
I know you got something for this.
Oh yeah. Accessing my memory banks to the like most like oh god moment. Back when I lived with my parents back in like 2013, I worked midnight shift at a hotel. So my days off, I'd wind up getting up at a certain point to where they would like fall asleep and they wouldn't wake up before I went to bed on my days off because I tried to have a normal life on my days off. But I'd play something, have my bedroom door still open, all of a sudden I hear, "Are you still awake up there?" I'm like, "What do you mean? We've been up for like 6 hours. It's like 11 a.m." I'm like, "Wait, what? No."
No. What do you mean?
No. Like, I would go to bed, like, as soon as I got home after my shift. So, I'm like, I was up, like, 5 hours after I would normally go to bed. So, I'm like, no. My sleep schedule. It's ruined.
That's me. I get home at, like, midnight. And so, like, if I get a second wind, I'm up to, like, fucking 4 a.m.
I definitely had a moment like that back when I was in the Sioux and I worked at the grocery store. Because my normal schedule, I worked evenings. I would work 4, 5, or 6 to midnight. And when I didn't have class, I would have to tell myself either I'm going to bed at 12:45 or I'm just up till 2:30. And either I'm going to bed at 2:30 or I'm up till 5. Mm-hmm. So it was this one quest in Destiny that my friend told me about. Like, it was really hard, and I had to break through it by myself because I'm too self-aware to reach out to people online like, hey, do you guys want to help me? So I broke through by myself. I was like, hell yeah, man. Just got off work. It's midnight. It's 12:30. I'm hyped. And I'm like, I'm just going to do the next mission. I'm good. Mind you, I had to be to work the next day at like 10 a.m. So I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm just going to do this one mission. And then that one mission turned into like, oh, go kill 500 aliens over here and go do like 3 of these missions. I'm like, oh, light work. So I started doing that. And then by this point, I'm just so engaged in it. I noticed the sun's coming up. And I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
It was like 7:50. And I'm like, I'm going to sleep for like 2 hours before I have to walk back to work. I'm still in my work clothes.
You're already ready.
It was like that scene in Everybody Hates Chris. I just laid down for an hour, just hopped back up. I should have just stayed up the whole time because like I felt like garbage juice trying to sleep and wake up for an hour. I should have just went straight to work. That was the worst shift of my life.
I bet.
And I've worked at that grocery store hungover.
So I got a question for you guys. So we've all talked about like staying up way too late to play video games or getting like caught in the rhythm. Have you ever, like, I have been exhausted. Like, I know I need to go to bed. I am playing shit in the video game because I need to go to sleep. But I swear to God, if I don't beat this boss before I go to bed, and like I remember there, like again in Tomb Raider, there was this pack of wolves I had to destroy and like kill something else, and I just could not do it. I could not do it. My roommate was gonna go to bed at the time, and I couldn't scream anymore, and these things scared me. But it was like 15 minutes of failing this over and over and over again. I finally get it. I literally quickly saved, yeeted the controller away. I was like, I need to go to bed now. Like, is there been any mission that you're like, I need to complete this, but I keep dying over and over again because I just need to go to bed?
Well, that happens to me a lot because, especially like in games that have quests, I get distracted like very easily. Like, I'll be like, oh, I need to beat this boss, but I need to level up this character, but then I need to go do this, I need to go do that, and I get distracted by a side quest. Like, so if I don't beat a fucking boss, like, then and there, it's going to take me a month to get back. Because I'm going to open up the game, forget what I was fucking doing, and then run off into the woods and collect some fucking mushrooms.
For me, that was actually pretty recently where I was playing Dark Souls 1 for the first time, and the final boss killed me about 67 times.
Oh my God.
I was literally that's all day just grinding on that. It was a day off. I didn't have to work till like the afternoon the next day. I'm like, I can do whatever. I was so pissed. About halfway through, I literally just sat in the corner, just watched YouTube videos for like 15 minutes. I'm like, all right, I'm fine. Kills me another 10 times. I'm like, this son of a bitch.
At that point, just pure determination.
Oh yeah, I was like,
Pure
I've beaten
vengeance.
everything else in this game by myself. I'm going to beat you.
I wish I knew the level at which rage turns into rage quit versus rage continue. Because
And you know what's even worse is rage calm.
Yeah, that's bad.
I did have a moment of that. Like, it was like maybe two to go, like 2 more rounds before I actually killed him. I literally just...
Just a
And that's
zen of
after rage quit.
Oh, yeah.
You come back.
And you can ask the roommate that he walked in, he checked me, he's like, walk away. I'm doing this. And I finally killed him. I literally just grabbed a pillow and just like... I was like, I did it. I'm done.
Kingdom Hearts did that to me a lot when I was younger because not because like it was a couple bosses that I couldn't beat, even though they were annoying. It was
Sephiroth.
like, you shut your goddamn mouth. I'm kidding.
Can we also,
But no,
I was going to say, that song is a banger. You cannot
One Winged
convince me
Angel
other-
is the best boss track.
But mostly
Yes.
because, like, in a lot of Japanese role-playing games, and I bring this up, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Like, there's definitely times where they say, all right, go find your mother. And you're like, where is she? And they're like, I don't know. You should figure that out. So, like, that game, so Kingdom Hearts definitely had me times where I had to turn off my PlayStation to go to bed, and I'm just sitting there stewing, like, where? I've been through every room. But most recently...
Are you my mother?
I'm just walking up to every NPC like,
Are you my mommy?
you.
Are you my mommy? Are you my mommy?
Are you my
But
mommy?
I remember that when I played Horizon Zero Dawn for the first time, and there's these machines called, I think, Death Walkers. It's been a minute. But there was a time where I'm playing this so late into the night, and I'm like, I can't, because I know I'm going to be thinking of how to beat it all night, and then I'm going to go to work thinking about it all day, and I just can't. So I need to beat this. Took me to 1 a.m, but I was like, yes! Yes!
There was a day I was grinding, again, really hard on Tomb Raider, and I just could not beat this. Like, I just could not beat this dude. Like, I just did not get the mechanics right. And I remember it stewed with me, and I had to go to work the next day. I was weirdly working days then. And I just walked in, and I had talked to my boss about it before because he also had played Tomb Raider. He just walks up, and he just sees me. He goes, you want to be anywhere else but here right now, do you? I was like, yep. He goes, guy with the flamethrower? Guy with the flamethrower. Cannot get him. Cannot get him at all.
What's worse is being in a game or a part of a game that's a dungeon or having a puzzle-based game and, like, you leave to, like, go to work or something and you're trying to work it out when you're at work and then you come home, use your strategy you came up with at work, and that fails too.
Oh, it's so infuriating. You're like, I
I'm-
spent all that time plotting and planning.
That was me when I was playing Bloodborne. I'm like, all right, how am I going to beat this boss when I get home? And then just epic fail. I'm like, well,
Yep.
all right, that was 8 hours of planning wasted.
Because you think you've cracked the code, and in
Yeah.
fact, you have not.
But you spend the rest of the time thinking you're a genius. Like, oh my God, yeah, I got this. I
Yeah,
got
it's like,
this.
I
I'm
know
so
they're
smart.
You're beautiful minding at work.
I know their patterns. I got this. Oh, second phase. Never.
Immediately kills like,
You're not going to see this one coming.
That's the absolute
KO'd.
worst when you think you've finished the boss fight, and then it's like phase 3. You're like,
Oh my god.
I'm gonna die.
Why did this open up to a bigger room?
Because
Why is there more healing packs?
you brought up so much of Kingdom Hearts. Like, there's like phase 1, you get them. Phase 2, you're like, didn't see that coming. And then you think you beat them, but it goes, like Emily
Phase
just said,
77.
it goes to a bigger room. Or the dimension shifts. And you're like,
Or
what's
it's
going
all
on?
dark now.
And nothing makes your heart sink faster than getting into like the 3rd phase. Or dare I say, the 4th phase.
Oh god.
And like you lose, and you're just like, okay, you know, they're gonna start back over at that phase, and the whole fight. I'm like, there's definitely been times in games I put the controller down, like, this gaming shit just not for me.
I literally stopped playing Genshin for about 6 months because of that reason. Because in Genshin, the boss fights, there's a guy named Child, and there's 3 phases to his boss fight, and he switches elements.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, that just reminded me.
And so I literally I was like, you know what? I need a break. And I just didn't play for fucking 6 months. And then I know I can regret it because I know I have way too much shit to do.
That reminded me of Dungeons and Dragons, where my boy Kane was a DM, and we're all fighting, like, essentially, it's the top of a tower, but the tower is a dragon. There's like 8 dragon heads that are just attacking us, and we're all really strong, but like, every time we attacked this dragon and did damage, because we are fucking this thing up, I don't know what perk or magical item it held, but every time we did damage to it, its reaction was to spit fire at us and hit us with damage. And then it would be its phase. And I don't mean like one
That's
person.
brutal.
And I mean one person hit it, it would respond damage to all of us. So I'd be like, 50 damage, Kane, what you gonna do about that? And he's like, in response, the dragon.
Oh.
Uno reverse
Emily's
card,
like,
bitch.
Literally.
And then Emily's like, 95 damage. And he's like, really good. In response, and it just kept doing that. And I'm
Wild
like,
card
oh.
plus 4, motherfucker.
And I'm like, so it clearly doesn't have its own turn if it's using all this. And he goes, it's the dragon's turn. And all 8 heads come together. And I was like, please, I don't have any health left.
You've taken everything from me.
I'm like, I'm out of spell slots.
It's kind of like that TikTok I sent you where they were trying to figure out, like, so it was this group playing Dungeons and Dragons, and they had just defeated the boss because the wizard had turned it into a turtle, and they were yeeting it off the mountainside. And later somebody else pointed out, like, oh, only so many dice were allowed to be used. They used 236 dice to roll damage.
That's illegal.
Yeah. Or was it like 63? It was like a ridiculous amount of dice because they rolled 295 damage points for the damn thing.
That's illegal.
Because they turned it into a turtle, and then I can't remember what does Sushi always play. My brain's breaking. What character does Ashley always play?
Oh, she always plays a barbarian.
A barbarian yeeted it off the mountain, and so they were figuring out how much it took.
Fall damage.
Yep.
Oh my god. Let's get off of this.
Yes.
Speaking of fall damage, who's the strongest character in Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, and why is it Toph?
It's tough.
Who wants to argue with me?
As much as I'm not a fan of her, not Toph, no. There's someone I think that is more powerful than her, or at least on the same level, but I'm not a fan. I don't like Katara very much, but she can fucking bloodbend.
Are we gonna fight right now?
Are we gonna fight?
Why don't you like Katara?
I don't like her.
Why don't you like Katara?
Don't. She's
Why?
just. Ugh.
What is this?
I think for me,
What is happening? What did I miss?
What? I'm just throwing my hood up.
Well, don't put your hood up menacingly at me. I'm kidding. What happened?
I just don't like how her character, like, some of the times
They made her into the classic annoying mom friend,
yeah.
and I don't appreciate it.
I
And then
feel like you guys' opinion of her would change if you two weren't moms sometimes when we go out. Because there's definitely been times
maybe
where you guys
Yeah.
have rallied and been mom.
Yeah,
But
but
No,
she
I'm
is-
designated a mom friend.
I know,
And that's
there's
why.
definitely times in the show where her society, women are motherly.
I think that's the problem is, like, she got stuck being the role as mom too much, and I think I
Fair
see
point.
that too much.
like my favorite episode with her was the one where her and Zuko went off to find that the general that killed her mom.
That's a great episode.
Because like that's the episode I immediately thought of when you said someone more powerful than Toph. Like she literally didn't even bloodbend and she kicked his ass.
I love Zuko's face in that when he realized, oh, she could destroy me.
Right. You didn't even bloodbend. I'm sorry, what? Like she beat fucking Azula. Granted, she was psycho crazy at the time and probably not the best, like, at her 8+ game, but still.
I still can't get over with like Toph, and I think you and I sent the TikTok to each other where it was talking about how can we talk about how she figures out how to make metal bending out of pure spite and then just takes out the firebenders who've never seen metal bending before. They just see this metal monster coming towards them and she just annihilates them. Sorry, I'm so for Toph. I love Toph.
I do love that scene where she just jumps on the ceiling and crawls towards him like the fucking exorcist.
What would you say your favorite character is, or who's stronger than
Oh,
Toph?
it's Toph.
Okay, but other than Toph.
I think there's only one character that could have a hope of challenging her, and that would be
Boomy?
good choice, but no.
Okay.
Boomy gets waxed. Because Boomy
Yeah.
saw an invasion at his doorstep, was like, nah.
I'm good.
He's sort of like, I understand it in the context of the story because he knew that people were just going to lose anyway. There's no beating the Fire
Right,
Nation. Let them
yeah.
have the city. But it's just so funny to see the Fire Nation bring the problems to your doorstep. And they're like, King Boomy, we ready. We ride at dawn. And Boomy
Boomy?
was like,
Boomy.
do we need to?
Open the gates.
They turn Boomy?
He was like, he's like, I don't really live here like that. I can have all this shit. No. It would be the man, the myth, the legend himself, who we all aspire to be.
Iroh?
The
Iroh.
General Iroh.
General Iroh.
He's the only person I really think that could beat Toph, but that's because Toph is so strong she doesn't need to think about her fights. She just kind of does it. Mostly because y'all can tune me out. No, I'm just talking to the audience. Mostly because Toph is so close to earthbending because it's just how she sees and interacts with everything. She just uses it practically to like make a tent for herself or just kind of move faster. Like she is earthbending in the same way that you just do breathing. And I think the only person, like, and that's why she's so strong because she just has that connection with her element that very few people get to that level. Like maybe Aang in his prime with airbending because, you know, he is it. Iroh knows so much tactically. He's seen everything, and he's just so at peace. I think he can really think his way around how to beat Toph.
I feel like Iroh too, at least watching the series, and even watching Legends of Korra, he is one of the only firebenders ever, I think, truly to respect his art and then appreciate it in a way that no one else does. Like, he works so much harder. Like, in the scene where he's explaining things to Zuko about the different elements, like, it shows he learned how to handle the different forms of bending, and he brought that into firebending. So.
Banter.
Awkward silence is awkward silence.
Gonna delete that part.
Thank you.
Anyway, I just wanted to get that out because I think Toph is the fucking GOAT, and I'm not gonna be talked down off this ledge today.
Yes. She a terrible mom? Absolutely.
Yeah, she's the fucking worst.
Oh, you're
terrible.
GDMFing right.
Oh, it's
Toph was like, I'm gonna live in a swamp. Fuck them kids.
she literally said, "Fuck them kids."
I did see a little like Avatar fact that I thought was interesting, just because I mentioned Katara and it popped up. Katara's the only Avatar character to be in every single season finale.
Sorry, what?
She's the only Avatar character to both be in all the season finales for both The Last Airbender and Korra.
Oh.
Because she's in both.
If you're wondering, Dylan and I both have the same head tilts both those times.
Yeah.
We're just, huh.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you know what? That's kind of fucking badass.
She's the only survivor.
Right? She's the only one still alive. I mean, Zuko and Toph are alive.
Yeah. I did see, like, a really, really sad TikTok. When Madriel is singing in Encanto about when is she going to get her gift.
Oh no.
And it's the Avatar characters responding to it. So it's like not Korra, it's like Katara looking like should we do something? Toph trying to act like it's not happening, and like Zuko comforting, and Sokka just sobbing because he's the only one in the group that doesn't have. I was like,
poor Sokka.
oh god,
He's got a boomerang.
but he has boomerang.
Hey, Sokka's my guy, man.
Oh god, I love him. You are
Sokka.
Sokka.
Bye, space sword.
Boomerang, you
I
do
thought I
always
saw
come
something
back.
about how like he got his space sword back or something.
Oh, I
think they like hinted at it in Korra that he got it back.
need to rewatch Korra. It's been a
Yeah.
while.
Airship slides. Man, Sokka's my dude, man. I'd ride for Sokka. That's my guy.
Yes.
What's more important?
Okay.
Forget a segue. What's more important? This applies to any medium year. any medium, reading, writing, arithmetic, whatever. What's more important, good characters or a good story?
Oh.
There's a right answer to this.
I will go first and say I think it's good character, because if you have good characters, they could just be sitting in a room and it'd be good.
Dylan, what do you think?
I'm thinking.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't want to talk over you if you had something. For me, I feel like it's good characters over storyline, because I have watched animes with absolutely shit storylines, some of the worst, but the characters were just so well written, and the stories that they're like their own personal journeys going through, that made it enjoyable for me. And there's arcs of animes that I've watched that I absolutely hated. They're not my favorite. I can't stand them, but I love the characters so much because they're so written well. I'll put up with it.
Yeah, and on the opposite
90%
end
of Naruto.
of that is there could be a great storyline. Like, an anime could have a fantastic plot line. If your character's shit, I'm not getting past the second episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that point, I'm gonna have to agree with that. If you can
I was
have
gonna say,
the
what are your
the
thoughts?
best story ever written, but if your character's just hot trash, you're not gonna keep the viewership. Simple as that.
You're all wrong.
Fuck
I'm
yourself.
kidding. I was gonna say good.
This is our podcast.
I
now.
was
Get out of
saying
here.
good.
Right? Get out.
I was gonna.
I own this apartment now.
Ecchi and chill with Arklay Red, Gessie,
This
and Emmy
is-
cosplay. Put that on a banner. See how that works out for you. Okay. You exceeded the character
This is
limit
a
2 sentences
takeover.
ago.
3-1 vote. Kicked off the island.
Wow. Our votes are weighted
are
the
the weakest link.
same.
Goodbye.
That's cool. Jesus, this is a freaking monarchy. When did we become a fake ass democracy? Matter of fact, mute your mic. Go vote over there in silence, peasant. I was going to say I agree with all of you. I thought all of you were going to say good story because a good story is more engaging. But Gessie actually stole my thunder and had the best point ever, because when you have good characters, they can just be in a room. Because one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that the actor joke is, what's my motivation? Like, a good character is just naturally motivated. Like, Wolf of Wall Street is one of my favorite movies ever. Not because of the whole bros doing cocaine and getting money thing. Like, no, it's a great movie. Like, the main character is a piece of shit dude, but like, he's so hyper focused on just all this wealth and power. It's fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Well, think about all the animes that people watch that have really, like, have filler, but people know every filler episode because they enjoy it and watching. And I'm not just talking about Ashley and all of
Oh, did you
Naruto.
just say Ashley Sushi?
I know.
She's defended to the death, loving all the Naruto filler.
Because
Sorry,
all of them-
Naruto Adventures.
Are you going to hit the button?
No, I don't have a. I just realized I'm terrible at drops. I don't know what this orange one does.
That's perfect.
Wait, can we have a moment of you just going through all those buttons?
Yeah. Okay. This is.
We're get back to my topic, but here we go. Go.
Okay. This is, I think, a song. Yes.
Yeah.
This is Sad Trombone. This is like a horror thing. Wrong one. That's rim,
It's not a horror.
rim shot. Anyway.
A little fancy.
And then there's this one. I don't know why would ever have crickets and birds. Birds? Jesse, you do birds. That's the one. Anyway, go ahead.
So, like, they'll have so many fillers, and I still remember one of the curry filler of Naruto is one of my absolute favorites because I love the characters so much, and they're so well done that I'm literally willing to watch anything with them in. Like, they're just so entertaining. Like, Hunter x Hunter right now has some random, just odd story parts where I'm like, it's not my favorite, but these characters make it so funny.
Ooh,
And
you
so
brought
good.
up something good. Speaking of characters that are good, we were just talking off pod about, not off pod, earlier in the topic, this episode. Eren Yeager. He is a mass murderer. I don't care. I'm with him. Are there characters that are either wrong or genuinely disliked that you like? I'm going to say Sasuke Uchiha is one of those characters for me. He spends all series looking for somebody to kill. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of agree with that. You're not about to mark my whole family, and I'm going to be like, I forgive you. Bump that. Sorry for those audio listeners in your office, but bump that. I'm coming for blood, sir. Too many tragic moments happen in anime for me to just Naruto my way out of there. I'm with Light Yagami. Get these criminals out of here, cuz.
I'm
Like,
gonna take a potato chip and eat it.
Best scene ever.
Literally
I'm not
was.
saying you should die for jaywalking, but I mean, if you're a serial killer and you're in jail, your name's in the death note. If you binge watch, your name in the death note.
All right, listen here, motherfucker.
For your audio listeners, all three of us at the table are now just staring at Evan because we all three
I'm
are binge
sorry,
watchers.
you don't have a fucking superpower.
You're gonna regret letting me know I have a laugh track. Hey, Emily.
Don't mute me.
You're muted. Don't ever. Emily's muted. Don't ever touch my board. Who's you guys' favorite terrible character in anime? Eren Yeager.
I got one, but you've muted me.
Sorry, what was that, Emily? You're muted.
I'm trying to think. Honestly.
Or video games, or TV shows in general.
So I got a couple. I got Shigaraki from My Hero.
Ooh.
I do not give a shit. I love that crusty boy. And then, because I'm so deep in Hunter x Hunter stuff right now, Hisoka is the most morally confusing character. I was telling Gessie earlier, his obsession with the 12-year-old, fucking weird. But his ability to just murder people for funsies is like, I will follow him to the end of earth for his crazy. Absolutely here for. Do not care at all.
Go and what is Hisoka? Really?
Hisoka, yeah.
It's like, Hisoka, do you want to have sex with Gon or do you want to spar with Gon? And he's like, yeah.
And you're like,
that
wait,
one.
what? Like, because there's one point.
Have you not seen it, Cook?
Are we talking about Hunter x Hunter?
Yeah.
No, I have yet.
Okay.
It's on my
Trust me,
list.
You're going to you're going to see it and have the same opinion as I do. Like,
Mind
do you
you-
want to fight him or fuck him?
Well, mind
his
you-
answer's yes.
Yes. Mind you, I literally asked my boss who watched this before me, and I was like, hey, because like it was like the first few episodes he met Hisoka, and I'm like, okay, he's got a weird vibe, and I kind of know going into this he's odd. And I turned to my boss and I'm like, he's not gonna have like some weird Orochimaru feelings for like going like Sasuke, like Orochimaru did with Sasuke, right? And my boss just like looked at me and walked away. I went, son of a bitch. All right.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna prepare myself for this.
Can I bring up
Is this the guy that had like all the abs, but then it was a ball later?
No,
Okay.
that's a different guy.
That is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
can I bring up
I
this?
haven't watched it.
In
but-
Naruto, Orochimaru was a whole thought for no reason. This dude was deep throating swords and
Yes.
scrolls just because he could. Like,
Yes.
Kinky.
yes, he was a whole thought for no reason, talking about some. Oh yes, Sasuke, and I was like, whoa. Like,
Biting kids' necks to curse them
he's Orochimaru is a kinky dude.
with some skeletons in the
He's all
closet.
bending and stretchy. Literally, yes, he is.
And the floorboards
He's a literal snake. Oh my god.
in the closets.
Although I'd seen too much Orochimaru bedroom fan fiction, and I'm ashamed to admit how much I've seen of it.
Same. I know too much.
There's no going back now. It's
No, you
got to
can't.
embrace it.
It's stuck in your brain.
Exactly. Never gonna forget it.
Nope.
Just has 1,000 yards straight. All of a sudden, just no. Oh,
I don't
Can
know
you
who did
mute her
that. So
again?
okay, Emily did it. I was gonna say I don't know who did
Emily.
it, so I'm muting all of your mics in retaliation.
It was Emily.
Good night.
I know.
What was that? You're muted. Kidding.
I think you're on like 3 or something. Maybe 4.
I'm counting the one before the show
Okay.
started.
Oh, you are counting one before you start. Okay, it's a 4. Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's hard because a lot of the characters I like, everyone likes, but
Well, you still can go for it.
yeah.
That's fine.
I don't know. I mean, like, well, there's Kirito. Everyone fucking hates him.
I just hate ACO, so.
Emily, I'm gonna have to talk you down off this ledge.
No, we're good. We're
Because
good.
the main condition on getting Gessie on the show is no SAO bashing.
I forgot. It's just, it's a gut reaction.
I-
I haven't even
it's okay.
seen the show, and I like to mess with her
I
about
can't.
it.
This is why. That's why
Yes.
I love
Yes.
him, but I
This,
hate him at the same time.
this is indeed
'cause
me.
What?
Oh,
SAO,
Kirito. I thought
yeah.
you like you love me, you hate me at the same time. I'm like, I'm literally defending you
just
right
hate
now.
you.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Moving on. She had a point. She had a point.
I guess because like my reason for like loving him, why everyone hates him, is kind of like the same for Eren Yeager. Like, he's really fucking stupid and makes really dumbass choices, but he's baby.
Would we call Eren Yeager baby?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm like,
angry,
we would call
emotionally driven baby,
angry
full
baby.
of rage,
little angsty baby.
Could
ready to bite his finger
could
at any
Mikasa
moment.
have fucking figure all this shit out in season 1? Yes. But she's letting him have his moment.
That's because Austin is the best character in the show.
You're not wrong.
No, I will not be taking questions because no, I don't need to take questions.
What about you?
For me, I mean, it's one person. Shigaraki's the guy with the hands on My Hero. For those who are listening, I'm just now kind of catching up with My Hero Academia. I'm only season 3 right now, so I'm terrible with names. But there's something about him that I'm just like, all right, I don't mind if you stay around at all.
Yeah, because it's, well, on one hand, what you're watching right now and what you're going to get to, it's not really a spoiler what I'm about to give you. Like, he kind of bounces around and hangs out with a bunch of villains. And each villain he meets with has, like, a code for how they do things. Where are you right now? I don't want to give you a villain.
For those who haven't watching, I'm just going to say really quick spoilers right now because I'm really terrible at, like, subtly describing things. I just finished all my beating All for One.
Okay.
Oh, so you're second season.
Yeah, when he was with, so he meets one villain, and this villain later in the season, he's like, you have to have a plan. If you just want to do things without a plan, you're not going to get very far. And Shigaraki's like, I don't know if I agree with that. Then he meets another villain later on. This villain's like, what do you want to do? Like, do you have a goal? Like, what's your structure like? And he's like, I just want to do things. I don't really think this is going to work for me. I mean, you saw Shigaraki with Stain. Stain is like, you need conviction. You have to really believe it. Shigaraki's like, I just want to destroy things. Like, that's kind of where he ends up at. And he's the same person throughout, but like seeing his motivation go from just this raging, angry child to just like a force of just pure rage. Like,
especially in one of the arcs that are coming up.
Yeah.
He becomes like God mode.
I see that. A lot of people identify with Shigaraki because he's just angry.
Yeah, I was told without spoilers that there is like a focus on his backstory at some point, and I'm just like, ooh, okay.
Do you want tragedy?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Can we also talk about, on a side note, with My Hero, that Stain was truly the greatest person on that. Like, he's the only one that truly called out the flaws and everything, and I would be a diehard person that follows Stain. Maybe that's why I like Kin Toga so much, is like, I want to be Mr. Stainy. I just want to follow Mr. Stainy, and then I want to kill Mr. Stainy.
Stain, when people in My Hero get me so angry, and
Did I just trigger you?
No, because I'm realizing I've brought up My Hero every pod episode. This is going to be my poddamia.
Well, it's probably because we have the My Hero like banner
that
I'm staring at.
You.
But, and like, people like misunderstand My Hero so much. They're like, Stain was 100% right. The heroes are wrong. And I'm like, no, that's not the point there. Like, Stain, he has a point. Doesn't mean he's right.
He was just pointing out the negative aspects.
Correct.
He pointed out the huge flaw that everyone's like, no, the heroes are the best. And like, he's like, no, they're completely biased. And like, he wasn't the greatest character. He was the greatest morally great character.
I agree with that. Like, the thing in My Hero's society where they say, sorry, Gessie, I know this is boring for you.
Oh, no, you're good. You're solid. I watched some of it.
Okay. Yeah, like, the point of My Hero is, like, all the villains want to use their quirks freely, but all the heroes put rules on it. But that's because back in the day when quirks became a thing, all people did was kill each other with them. It's the gun debate in anime, basically. So it's
really,
like,
honestly,
let's dial this back, and, you know, you can become a good guy with your quirks. And the line between hero and villain is a gray one, and it's going to be a big My Hero video. Like, Stain is the gray area because there are some heroes who are fantastic people who are inherently virtuous. But there are also heroes that are just like, hey, look, I'm trying to get this bread, player. Like, I'm just here for my
And
paycheck.
I don't care who I destroy, break, hurt, whatever, to get to the top.
Yeah. Like, fucking Momo and Kendo, when they have their hero internship, they're off doing hair care product commercials when they should be learning how to save people. And then on the other side of the spectrum, there are villains that are inherently evil, and there's no changing them. They're just going to hurt, destroy, and kill people. But then there are also villains who are like victims of society.
That just get
like, Toga could have been redeemed at one point, but like, her quirk doesn't really work in society. Like, you have to eat people's blood. Not really sure how that's gonna work.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have, like, a lot of the villains have quirks that aren't easily malleable to be used in the hero society.
Yeah.
So they're labeled as non-good quirks, and so they're villain evil quirks, and so they're pretty much shunned out.
Yes. that the point of My Hero is so many people are just like, oh, the victims are just misunderstood. No, Dabi's a dick.
No, Dobby.
Shigaraki could have been saved at one point. Dabi cannot. There's good and bad heroes. There's good and bad villains. So at what point do you draw the line between hero and villain? And that's the whole point of the show. So when somebody's like, All Might was wrong, I'm like, I'll report you. This is hate speech.
I gotta find, like, this is going off in the podcast that you and I just recorded, but there is a fan fiction written where if Shigaraki was found by different people after the whole thing that happened with his backstory, if he was found by somebody else, how his life would have been. And it's Eraserhead. They somehow found it.
Y'all love Aizawa, man.
Literally, him and Present Mike are my jam. I love them both so much.
After this pod, I'm gonna put a soft ban on My Hero because like every episode I brought it up. Even the one with Cooking, I just did video games.
Continue
anyway,
the streak.
Cook, you look like you've had a point for like a minute, and I keep cutting you off.
I just wanted to clarify. Dabi is the guy with like the half purple face, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's got the burn scars.
Yeah, I'm terrible with names for some reason with My Hero.
It's okay.
So.
I'm horrible with names in general.
Yeah.
She just knows somebody
The
that
man
cosplay.
whose fire is so hot it burns his body, and he's like, I'm gonna keep doing this.
Well, every time you say Dabi, I think
Straight fire.
of the elf, and then I have to remind myself it's anime. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh wait, purple
the other
guy.
one.
Dabi, Master has given Toby a sock.
We had the conversation of Emily's dog hadn't been named Luna, we would have named it Dabi.
Yes. If her ears had stayed the way.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because she loves
Moving on.
the socks.
So, we're gonna wrap this up.
Trust me, my
We're gonna
servant.
wrap this up. There is one very important question for the three of you.
All right.
This will impact how I view you for the rest of your lives.
Oh,
You'll still
Lord.
be stuck with me, but there'll be an asterisk there. Who are you picking? Charmander, Squirtle, or Bulbasaur?
I'm a Charmander girl. Charmander's immediately because I love the flame, but Squirtle's my baby.
I see. I'm always stuck between Charmander and Bulbasaur.
Well, because you're a little green girl. You love your little plant.
I do.
Bulbasaur.
But also, he can like reach things for me because I'm short as fuck.
I know. That's why we have Evan.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bulbasaur so that he can just grab things for me.
Honestly, I'm going with Squirtle. He's my little baby.
You've been
Squirtle.
You've been to my apartment, Evan. You've seen the Bulbasaur plushie I have in my room. You
I
know
have
who I'm going
Squirtle.
with.
Okay, good.
But I do
Got
have
Squirtle.
Charmander as well. But Bulbasaur team, Bulbasaur all the way.
I was a little bit offended that there was so much Charmander discussion to begin with.
Why?
Because he's not a dragon.
I know.
What's the point if he's not going to look
So?
like it?
So he's
Also-
a little-
You can still ride
Have
on
you
him
seen
once
him
he
in
evolves enough.
Detective Pikachu helping with the stir fry with his tail. I would
It
die
was
for him.
adorable.
I would die for Charmander.
Fan Charizard's great.
I
Charizard
completely
in
forgot
game
Detective
is
Pikachu exists.
ass.
Okay, but you didn't say if it was in game or in like the thing.
That's on
Yeah.
me. Valid
Yeah.
point. Give me
Ha.
Squirtle any day because
Squirtle.
Blastoise is great.
Yeah,
Ah,
I love Squirtle.
ha.
Can we also talk about that Ash was a shit Pokemon trainer?
Oh my god, he
Absolutely
was
the worst.
so bad.
Absolutely.
His
Absolutely
first
the worst.
battle is to use a Pikachu against an Onix when lightning has less than zero
Such a
effect. Like it literally
dumbass.
doesn't. Like it's not. It did a little bit of damage. It literally says
No damage.
Thunder Shock had no
none.
effect. And Pikachu's decision instead of getting a water Pokemon was to go to the water, like was it like the hydroelectric dam, to charge Pikachu's cheeks. To then shock Onix more. It's the same energy as, how are we going to beat this villain? I guess we could try punching it harder. Same energy. Ash,
Well-
fucking idiot. Then he meets a Magmar, and I'm like, oh, Ash, you got a couple water Pokemon on the belt. You can use that. And he's like, Charizard against a Magmar. It's like, are you a fucking idiot, Ash?
Well,
I
it's
remember
also-
that
Why
fight
you only
too.
won
Oh
one
my-
title in 40 years?
We need to remember was it Ash left the house. 'Cause
Why am I yelling?
it's such a weird concept for me, and like nobody really talks about it. Oh, he's 10. Time to go explore the world by yourself
Right?
with
Good
murderous
luck feeding yourself, child.
and then other Pokemon you're gonna get. Have fun, 10-year-olds. I'll see you soon.
I'm gonna stay here and do the do with Mr. Mime.
The only good Pokemon trainer. All right, Jesse, your mic's muted. Don't you ever in your fucking life say that again.
I don't know what's worse.
Brain, stop. No, brain, stop going there. Brain, stop going
You
there.
never saw that theory online?
Hey, r/rule34. There's hentai of it.
I know,
do
Evan.
such
I think you and I
terrible
saw
things
it
to my
that one
brain?
night.
Oh my god, we're gonna have an episode where we just talk about hentai. Not now though, because I'll be up till 3 in the morning. I got opinions. But The only good main character in the original Pokemon is probably Misty. Because, like, Ash is just like, I'm just going to go walk around and, fumble my way through here. Brock's like,
I want to find girls.
Yeah.
No, Brock's even worse.
pervert.
I want to go
Organize it
breed
every
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, you want to do what, Brock? Like, that's such a nice way of saying, hey, I'm going to just make Pokemon fuck to get the excellent one I want.
I just
Gross.
love that Misty from day one is just already over everybody's shit.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
I'm like, yes.
Although I thoroughly enjoy the Officer
Jenny.
and Nurse Joy.
Yes.
There's like 50 of them. They're all
Right.
like sisters. I just
They're all
find
just
it-
I
sisters,
love-
yeah.
like,
You must have met my sister. That was my favorite running joke throughout the entire thing.
like, tell me you want to save on your animation budget.
Right.
Oh, that's so good.
Because like they're not even like sisters that have different hairstyles.
No, they're
It's just
exact
literally
same.
copy fucking paste.
Oh, hey, we're all sisters, and we went into the exact same career. We
Right.
all have the same name.
Control C.
Yeah.
Control V.
27 more times. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go.
Are we gonna change the names? No, all Joy, all
They're
Jenny.
all joy.
I can't honestly remember or
And
tell them
Brock's gonna hit on
apart,
every single one of them.
even though he's like 15.
That
or he's
man was, that man
that
was
is-
chronically thirsty.
We need to talk about this in a different podcast because I was just talking to Gessie about it. Again, I was watching Hunter x Hunter today, and one of the characters was like, "You have to go on a date with me. You have to go on a date with me." She's 22 and Gon was 12. Like, we have to talk about the weird age differences that are like, oh, we're gonna just be like completely fine with it. Like, don't get me wrong, Hisoka's fucking 28, I think, in the series. Yeah, and he's hitting on a 12-year-old. Weirdly, not really hitting, but he wants to murder or kill, whatever. What's
Do you
with
want to fight Gon or fuck Gon?
yes?
Yeah.
This is literally how he responds.
It's the that gets me every time.
Oh, it's
Mm,
worse
shudders.
than it's worse in the anime. But like,
Hey,
what's
I
with
noticed
the
you were
weird like?
playing Momo on Instagram.
I hate you. I hate that this started and ends with this.
I really like your female Deku. He's one of my favorite characters.
I hate everything.
You should watch My Hero with me. It gets intense, but don't worry, I'll hold your hand. We can do it together.
Stop.
I'm not a misogyny. I like to spend time in the kitchen too, make my own sandwiches.
Speaking of,
I'm quoting a thing that we haven't talked about in this podcast at all.
that's funny because I'd much rather you call me a slur.
Yeah, honestly,
Like-
just call me a bitch and tell
Right.
me to get in the kitchen.
Like,
Like, do
right.
that.
Hey, I believe in equality in race relations. Evan, I'll pick the cotton with you.
Audio
Like,
listeners,
I'd much rather you call me the N-word than say that.
audio for context.
Just tell me you're racist.
We're
Yeah.
We're referring to the creepiest DM, or the most awkward DM that a Twitch streamer has received, where the guy was like just super, super awkward at one point. He's like, I don't believe in misogyny. I can cook in the kitchen too. I can make sandwiches. It's just super cringe. And so that's what we're referencing for context. And then Evan made it about race.
I'm saying, like, I'd much rather you call me a slut.
I,
than
like
do
I said,
that.
yeah, I would much rather you just call
Call
me a
me a
bitch.
slut.
I can't
like-
make it about race. I can make it about race. It's my podcast. I do
I
what
mean,
I
that's
want.
fair. You've only muted
There
me
are no
4
rules.
times.
The
There's
rules
one
are there are
rule.
no rules.
There's 3 rules.
There's one rule. We don't talk about Mr. Mime.
Let's
Yes.
talk about Mr. Mime.
Which goes into the bigger rule. Don't get muted.
Emily?
I'll talk to myself for 3 hours.
I'm the queen at 6 right now on this podcast alone.
Jesus.
I mean, you only discovered it at the beginning of
All
this.
right.
Yeah.
So thank you guys.
Thanks for having us. This
There
was a
you
lot
go.
of fun.
We're good. So if you were here for the jokes, if you made it this far, thank you. We might do this again if you really liked it. But if you wanted some actual content, come back next week.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got. The dismount's hard. So, Cook, thank you so much. It was glad to have you here.
Glad to be back.
Gessie, can't wait to have you one-on-one so we can see all types of your personality.
Goodbye.
You can bring the knitting too,
Sweet.
because for the
That's the
audio-only
only way-
listeners,
that's
she's
the
been
only-
knitting this entire time.
That's the only way I'll be
It's
here.
quite impressive because she was making eye contact with all of us, just didn't miss a stitch.
I don't have to look.
I don't understand that. It's terrifying.
I'm just gonna stare at you now while I knit.
Professional multitasker. Professional.
And she's really staring at me. Emily.
The undisclosed eye contact that Gessie is giving to their if I don't look, it doesn't happen. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a pleasure as always. I have to go home with this.
Thank you.
Prolonged eye contact.
Prolonged eye contact.
Prolonged eye contact.
Prolonged eye contact.
It's been a pleasure having all of you here. I love you guys harmonizing off mic. All right, everyone in listener land, thank you so much for listening. This has been the Ecchi and Chill podcast. I'm your host, Suneater Evan. Stay safe out there.